Hey, welcome back to another episode of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll be right back with today's guest, but first, let's say hi to our podcast partners, We Coach and the global community of women in high school sports. Two great organizations. You really need to check them out, get involved. They've got tremendous resources for you and your coaching staff. That's We Coach and the global community of women in high school sports. Now let's hear from our podcast sponsors. We want to say thanks to Final Forms. Go to finalforms.com/Jake to find out all the great things that Final Forms can do for you. Final Forms can help your stakeholders with things like mobile accessibility, and they've got reminders about physicals, about policies, and all the forms that go with having an athlete in the house. Final Forms can also help your coaches with things like communication and attendance, and for athletic directors, Final Forms can help with eligibility, with rosters, and all of the reports that come across your desk. You know, it's time that you talk to a team that's walked in your shoes. To take the next steps and find out what Final Forms can do for you, go to finalforms.com/Jake to get started. That's finalforms.com/Jake to find out all the things that Final Forms can do for you. We also want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing, the leading digital ticketing provider to schools and colleges. Go to hometownticketing.com and they'll show you how to set up and sell your tickets online. They'll show you how to scan the attendees that come to your games and collect your revenue. And every step of the way, Hometown is going to have a dedicated client success manager that's providing hands-on support. That's every step of the way. Hometown Ticketing can also show you how to set up and sell tickets for things like school dances, theater productions, music concerts, even graduation. Go to hometownticketing.com and start selling your tickets online. That's hometownticketing.com. We also want to say thank you to Gipper. Go to Gipper.com and see how athletic directors are creating world-class content for their school's social media channels. You can do it in seconds on any device, and you don't need any design experience. It's so easy, even I can do it. Go to Gipper.com and tell them you heard about it on the podcast by using the podcast code ADPOD10. That's ADPOD10. Get 10% off. Start creating custom branded content for your school social media channel. That's Gipper.com. We want to say thanks to Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. You know, they're on a mission to bring your school's legacy to life. If you're looking for a really cool way to display your team's school record boards and your athletic Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com and check out their touchscreen video consoles and their templates that help recognize the athletic achievements of your students, both past and present. Let them help you showcase your school's diverse history and your proudest moments, and go to vitalsignswalloffame.com, or you can email them at sales@vitalsignswalloffame.com to get started. That's vitalsignswalloffame.com. We also want to say thanks to Huddle. Go to huddle.com. Huddle is how the world sees sports. Over 200,000 teams across 40 different sports use Huddle to help their teams and their athletes play better using video and analytics. As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but as an athletic director, our school was a Huddle school. And our coaches just loved the smart cameras, the mobile apps. Of course, they love the analytics, but there's so much more. Huddle has the tools to help every team, every coach, every athlete improve. And if you go to huddle.com, you can find out how your school can become a Huddle school. Huddle's built for every level, from club and youth all the way through high school, college, and even the pros, because Huddle provides professional grade analysis and solutions for your athletic teams. At Huddle, we believe in sports and teams believe in Huddle. Can 6 million users be wrong? Go to huddle.com and turn your school into a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. We also want to say thanks to Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack for sponsoring the Athletic Director Toolbox segment of our regular podcast. Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack are a quick, easy, and affordable way for you to collect comprehensive data that allows you to evaluate and improve your entire athletic program. At my school, we use surveys for just about everything, for teachers, for coaches, for kids, even for parents. And the information that came back was almost always over the top positive, and it'll be the same for you. But the surveys also allowed that squeaky wheel parent to vent a little bit. And sometimes they'd share a small issue that you could address and keep it from turning into a big issue because you didn't know about it, because you hadn't done a survey. If you've never used a survey to take the pulse of your parents or your student athletes, you're really missing out. Talk to the folks at Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Go to athleticsurveys.com or email them at info@athleticsurveys.com and let them help you take your athletic program from good to great. And we want to say thanks to SnapRaise. Go to snapraise.com and see how their fundraising platform can help you. Our coaches use SnapRaise, and it was just fantastic. As an athletic director, I wasn't involved, but I knew what was going on. And SnapRaise allows you to get away from the fundraising headaches of the past. There's no inventory, there's no selling, there's no upfront cost, and it works. Choosing the best fundraiser for you and your school is critical, and you can put the SnapRaise digital fundraising difference to work for your program. As I said, it's easy, it's safe, and it works. Go to snapraise.com and check out the thousands and thousands of dollars that they have helped schools just like yours raise using SnapRaise. Change your fundraising game plan and start a fundraiser that works for you. Go to snapraise.com to get started. And we want to say thanks to SidelineInteractive.com. Go to SidelineInteractive.com and check out their indoor scoring tables and video boards. We were one of the first schools in Florida to have a Sideline Interactive score table, and it was just fantastic. We use it for home games, but we also use it for pep rallies, for signing ceremonies. It's tremendously versatile, and their customer support service is just outstanding. Go to SidelineInteractive.com and schedule a live web demo and see their tables and boards in action. You can also email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com, see exactly what their fantastic products can do for you. Don't wait around. Go to sidelineinteractive.com and see what their products can do for you and your school. sidelineinteractive.com. Welcome back, everyone, to another segment of Wednesday Wisdom on the Educational AD Podcast. Very happy to have back one of our original Wednesday Wisdom team members, Dr. Patty Raube-Keller. Tremendous background in athletics. If you haven't heard one of her previous episodes, she's an athlete, she's a coach, she's an athletic director. And for the past few years, she has been the program director at Boston College's sport management degree program. You know, she's helping train the next generation of coaches and ADs. Dr. Raube-Keller, it's always great to spend time with you. What do you have for us this time on Wednesday Wisdom?
Hi, Jake. Today, as we discussed, we're going to talk about the context of caring to confront and how all those things go. And I do a lot of confrontations with students, like really pointing out maybe not so much the obvious for them, but how to correct them and prepare them to be where they're at. And I feel like I do a really good job of it, but it's come from a long 20 years of working with high school students, and when I was working with high school coaches, and then working in college athletics. And how did I hone it so they can do it and do it well? And a lot of people have asked me this, like, you do a really good job of this, and I was like, I wasn't always good at this. So talk about some of the things I've learned along the way. And I think the first thing for that is, the people you're working with, they need to know that you care about them. And that is ultimately the number one thing. So until you can confront them and correct them, your athletes, if you're an AD, your coaches who are under you, whoever, they need to know that you care. And, caring has to show that you show empathy, and, that you are really out there advocating for them and building trust with them and doing all those things with them that sometimes we think we take for granted. I think for sometimes, because we know we care, but do they know we care? So until they know we care, you're not going to get a whole lot of buy-in when you do confront them, right? So that's really important that your athletes and stuff and the coaches that you might be supervising and people you're working with know that you care. And there's many ways to show that. It can be verbally, it can be through I know I used to leave little notes for our coaches, some of the times verbally was embarrassing to them, so I would leave them notes, or things like that. Student athletes showing up is a big deal. My husband was a college Division I strength coach, and he used to show up to the gymnastics meet even though we did football, and the girls saw him there, and that meant to them that he cared about them. So showing up to the maybe not so all the sports that people don't usually go to, the tennis tournament, the golf, the cross country meets, be there for them. Let them see that you're there, that you show that you care. And then I think the big thing is, when you go to confront them, how are you doing it, right? One of the biggest things I learned early on when I was teaching elementary school PE is not confronting kids in front of the classroom. Like, they get embarrassed and then they don't respect you. So I would pull them over to me, bring them away from people. I mean, I would still have to watch the whole class and just talk to Johnny and just say, hey, your behavior today isn't going so great. And, let's try and correct that. And I wouldn't be like, hey, what's your problem? Don't be accusatory. Like, that's really important because they might be having a really bad day because a really bad thing happened at their house. We don't know what's going on with kids these days, or our coaches. And, sometimes they're not going to share with you. They think it's private, but it does affect their behavior. So that's really important that, you say, hey, I know you're having a tough time right now. Like, let's talk about it, or let's check ourselves a little bit. Cause sometimes we don't know when we're behaving bad too. Sometimes we're having a bad day and we need to check, right? So really try to be encouraging when you do that. And then all the things that come along with coaching a team and even working with your staff, you got to set the standards. But how do you do that? You get the buy-in. Like, when I coach soccer with my 14-year-old girls, I talk to them about the rules, but I help them like flesh out what these rules should be, right? Like, right now we're talking about cell phones at practice, and what's the consequences for having a cell phone out at practice and things. Like, I let them set those consequences, right? They're usually stricter than I ever would be, but like, we flush those things out together, and then they have that buy-in. And then when you do have to confront them, we can go back and say, hey, we talked about this at the beginning of the year. This was your guys' rule, so the confrontation's there. And a lot of it too is when you're doing the confrontation, sometimes we do care so much, our emotions get in there. And that's where we have to step back and try and be cool and really like trying to remove the emotion a little bit and stick to the facts and have examples and things like that. So when you do confront, it's out of observation and how we can give good examples to show like, what should we do, right? And then you got to engage them in doing that and really show positive encouragement and just be there for them too. Cause they might keep trying to change their behavior and it might not always work, right? They're getting there a little bit each time. So they're taking baby steps. So encourage them on that. Like, say, all right, you did this great and this wasn't so great, but let's focus on what you did great. And the next time, let's try to get all of it in there. So that's really important to do. And I think that's really important. So the basis of this is just the caring to confront is to get the caring part down first, right? Don't confront right away. If you don't have that trust and that they know that you care, then anything you do to help them, whether you think you're helping them or not, they're just going to see it as more as a negative confrontation than really positive feedback.
Boy, you touched on so many important things there. The very first one, building that caring relationship, that old cliche, they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. It's a cliche because it's true. So, I think that's the foundation. I also loved how you talked about, your husband, he'd go to the gymnastics meets and things like that. As an athletic director, I worked at 3 different schools in Florida during my 20 years here. And at each school, I'd be at the tennis match, I'd be at the cross country race, and parents and kids would say, the athletic directors never come to our events before. They thought they were in trouble because I was showing up. And then, whether it's little kids in the elementary or adults, you hear this so often, elite coaches correct in private, praise in public. And again, I could tell that's very important to you. And I love your idea about, the consequences. rather than punishment. Let the kids be involved and understanding it. This generation, we have to communicate to them and kind of explain, what's going on, but it's the same for adults too. Very, very good stuff. Okay. Dr. Raube-Keller, if one of our listeners wanted to reach out and pick your brain a little bit more, or even find out about the Boston College program, what's the best way that they can get a hold of you?
Sure. I'm easily found on LinkedIn. It's Dr. Patty Raube-Keller. And then you can just email me at RaubeKel@bc.edu. We are masters in sports administration. And then we have 2 certificates, student athlete development, and then we have a sport analytics certificate. And we welcome people from all over, National Junior College, high school, all outlets of sports. I know like Huddle and AstroTurf and Hometown Ticketing, you're working in the sports arena. You might not be working on campus, but our program is very flexible. All our faculty work in the industry. They're not research faculty. They all are working in some form or fashion in sports. So, and all our students they have the same goal, and we really do have a true community. And our model at Boston College is for men and women and ever to excel, and we all help each other be the best version of ourselves.
Yeah, speaking of LinkedIn, Dr. Raube-Keller's frequently posting pictures on LinkedIn about activities that the students have done, some really cool experiential things. And also, I noticed recently you're going to be part of a big panel for a conference coming up.
Yep.
Share a
So,
little bit about that.
sure. As I talked today, this topic about caring to confront, I'm talking more about it with one of the leading volleyball coaches in the National Junior College Athletic Association on our panel. And, we're talking about it from a coach's perspective and then from an administrator's perspective. And, I don't want people to get bogged down that I'm at Boston College. I know Boston College is this amazing private school and people think we're elitist and not. I've worked every level, Division 1, 2, and 3 in junior college and high school. And then, all our faculty as well we're really here to help, and our program is super affordable. We are very competitively priced, and my job is to help you be the best version of yourself and help you meet your goals where you want to be. So I work with every one of our students individually, and I care about you. So you'll learn that really fast. I preach what I say. I really care about our students, and I really want them to do amazing things. And I love seeing my former students doing amazing things, and they're out there rocking it. So.
Now, and for our listeners, I can certainly attest to that. Dr. Raube-Keller does a great job with her programs, nationally recognized. Really be worth your time to check it out. Patty, always great to talk with you. All the best moving forward. Congratulations on the speaking gig.
Thanks,
and
Jake.
Thanks for being a part of Wednesday Wisdom.
Absolutely.
For our listeners, remember the Zoom recordings of all of our interviews get uploaded to the Educational AD Podcast YouTube channel. We appreciate you listening today. Come back next Wednesday for more Wednesday Wisdom and just about every day on the Educational AD Podcast. We'll see you next time. Thanks again for listening to Wednesday Wisdom. Before we go, quick shout out to all of our sponsors, Athletic Surveys by LifeTrack. Quick and easy information at your fingertips. Take the pulse of your parents and your student athletes. Go to athleticsurveys.com for more information. We want to thank Gipper. Go to Gipper.com, start creating world-class content for your school's social media channel. That's Gipper.com. I want to thank Final Forms. Go to finalforms.com/Jake. Check out all the things that Final Forms can do for you, your stakeholders, and your coaches. That's finalforms.com/Jake. I want to say thanks to SnapRaise. If you're looking for a fundraising platform, go to SnapRaise.com. Our coaches used it, and it was just fantastic, and it works. That's SnapRaise.com. Want to thank Wall of Fame by Vital Signs. If you're looking for a great way to display your school record boards or your Hall of Fame, go to vitalsignswalloffame.com. Vitalsignswalloffame.com. Also want to say thanks to Sideline Interactive, indoor scoring tables and video boards. Go to sidelineinteractive.com or email them at sales@sidelineinteractive.com for more information. Want to thank Huddle As a football coach, I used Huddle for years, but as an AD, we were a Huddle school. Go to huddle.com and see how they can help your school become a Huddle school. That's huddle.com. We also want to say thanks to Hometown Ticketing. Go to hometownticketing.com and they'll set you up with a dedicated success manager that's going to give you hands-on support as you set up your online ticketing. That's hometownticketing.com. We also want to say thank you to our partners. Our partners are We Coach and the global community of women in high school sports. To find out more about these two great organizations, go to their websites. We Coach is wecoachsports.org. And for the global community, that's Global Community of Women in Sports.org. They've got resources for you, resources for your coaches. Check them out. You should be a member of both organizations. Thanks again for listening to this episode of Wednesday Wisdom. We'll see you next time.